Once upon a time, in the Rocky Mountains, there was a small town called Bankhead. As the town of Bankhead existed because of its coal mine, there were all sorts of trains that passed through this mountain town. It was the early 1900s, a time when it was up to the steam locomotives to transport people and goods all across the land. Oscar, Amelia, and Marcus lived in Bankhead, and they loved nothing more than to watch all of the different trains pass through their town. On some days, they saw passenger trains rolling along the tracks, taking travelers from town to town along the picturesque and winding route through the Rocky Mountains. On other days, the children saw long freight trains carrying all sorts of different items and goods that people needed. And because Bankhead was a coal mining town, most days they could easily spot the coal trains taking their big loads of coal that was used for fuel for trains, heating homes, and running machines in factories throughout the land. Not only were the trains carrying all sorts of different things, but Oscar, Amelia, and Marcus noticed that the locomotives, or train engines, were all different too. "I wonder why there are so many different locomotives," said Oscar. "Why are they not all the same?" "That's a good question," said Marcus. "Maybe we should ask Nathaniel. He's one of the train engineers who works at the coal mine. He knows just about everything there is to know about trains." "He's the expert for sure," said Amelia. "If Nathaniel doesn't know, then nobody knows," she said. "Well, what are we waiting for?" questioned Oscar. "Let's go find Nathaniel." The children walked through the town, asking anyone if they'd seen Nathaniel so they could ask him about the locomotives. "Nathaniel was just by the store yesterday to buy some feed for his chickens," said Ollie the shopkeeper. "Why don't you check with Reuben, the tow truck driver down at the gas station? Reuben and Nathaniel are next door neighbors." The children made their way down to the gas station and saw Reuben getting into his tow truck. "Hi, Reuben," said Amelia. "Have you seen Nathaniel?" "I just saw him about an hour ago," said Reuben. "Check at the train station. I think he was getting ready to head over to the coal mine to take a load of coal to the hotel." The children rushed to the train station where they saw their friend Stanley. "Hi, Stanley," said Oscar. "We're looking for Nathaniel. Have you seen him?" "Why, he is due here any minute. Isabel over at the hotel is waiting for Nathaniel to bring by some coal to heat the hotel. Sit tight. He should be here soon." The children didn't have long to wait. Nathaniel, as always, was punctual, and before they knew it, they heard Nathaniel's coal train chugging down the tracks to the hotel. Nathaniel stopped the train just in the right spot so the train workers could load up the hotel's coal bins. "Hi, Nathaniel," said Marcus. "We have a question for you." "What is it?" "I can only guess that it's going to be about trains," said Nathaniel. "That's what I know best." "It is," said Amelia. "We see all sorts of trains pass through Bankhead, but we don't know why there are so many different kinds of locomotives," she stated. "That is a wonderful question that has quite a complicated answer. How would you like to come over to the train yard and I can explain?" said Nathaniel. "That would be great," exclaimed Oscar. "Well, if you go let your parents know, come back in about half an hour. The coal bins should be all filled, and then I'm on my way back through the train yard after that." "We'll be back in no time," said Marcus. The children rushed home and got permission from their parents. They hurried back to the hotel to go to the train yard with Nathaniel. As they arrived at the bustling train yard, the children's eyes widened with awe. "Look at all those different locomotives," said Amelia in amazement. Nathaniel smiled and continued, "Well, Amelia, the design of a locomotive depends on the job it needs to do. You see, trains are used for various purposes, such as pulling heavy freight, transporting coal or logs, or carrying passengers swiftly across long distances. Different locomotives are built to meet these specific needs." Nathaniel said, "Let's start over there. That one is one of my favorites. It's called a shay locomotive." Shay locomotives were one of the first trains that came about to replace mules and oxen for pulling out lumber from the forest or coal from the mines. The shay locomotives are a little bit like mountain goats. They could travel along rickety tracks that could be built quickly in steep or uneven terrain. And look over there. There are two other steam locomotives that are very much like the shay. That one is called a Heisler, and that one over there is called a Climax. And look over there. That one is different altogether. It's a locomotive that is used to pull all of the freight cars. It's called a 260. "A 260, said Oscar in a confused voice. "Why all the numbers?" "The numbers are a system that refers to how the locomotive's wheels are arranged. For the 260, it means there are 2 small wheels in the front, 6 big driving wheels in the middle, and no wheels at the rear." "What about all the numbers for that train?" asked Marcus excitedly. "There are so many wheels I can hardly count them all." "That is a 2662, which has 2 wheels in the front, 2 sets of 6 wheels in the middle, and another 2 wheels at the rear. Now that is a powerful train with a lot of pulling power," said Nathaniel. "It is used to pull heavy loads in passenger trains long distances over the steep climbs and winding rails through the mountains." "Who knew that there was so much to learn about locomotives?" exclaimed Marcus. "Well, now you do, and aren't you glad you asked me about them?" "We sure are," said the children all together. Having learned so much from Nathaniel about train locomotives, the best part was to sit back and watch the trains moving about the train yard. Watch they did. They saw coal trains pulling into the mine to have their carts filled with coal. They saw logs being lifted by a crane from the train car and dropped onto the log flume. And the last was the passenger train. As they looked on at all the passengers traveling on the passenger train, they wondered about each of them and what great adventures the train was taking them on. "What a great day, Nathaniel," said Amelia. "We have learned so much. I bet our friends will be surprised to hear us tell them all about the different locomotives that run through Bankhead." From that day forward, Oscar, Amelia, and Marcus understood the value of not being afraid to ask questions and seeking out the answers from those who know best. And so, as the children sat there, watching the trains come and go, they cherished the knowledge they had gained and looked forward to their next adventure, filling their lives with adventures of curiosity and of excitement. Steam locomotives rumbled through the Rocky Mountains for many, many years. The first Canadian Pacific Railway locomotive reached the Rocky Mountains in the late 1800s. The arrival of the steam train opened a whole new world of possibilities, including the start of the coal industry in the Rocky Mountains. Overcoming challenging landscapes and harsh climates, the railroad allowed people to settle, open businesses, and move goods and people throughout the country. The same remains true, with many Canadian Pacific trains moving goods and passengers throughout the Rocky Mountains each and every day.